And what do you mean by, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, that statement is not being offered for the truth, whether that customer was right or not. It's just to explain a conversation I believe this witness then had. Yes, Your Honor. What was you referred to a name. What name? The name of the tag, the name, the brand that we had on the narcotics? Okay. What was the trademark? What was that brand name? Get right. Get right. Okay. Did you, after receiving those complaints, did you have a conversation with Mr. Barronette? Yes. And can you describe that conversation? I told him what the customer said, and it was nothing after that. Did you tell him why? Or what was the problem? Why didn't you want let me rephrase that, because it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same narcotic. It wasn't the same quality. It was a different heroin. Did you want Mr. Barronette selling heroin? Different heroin under your name? No. Okay. Why would that affect your business? Because if the quality not as great as what we had, then it would mess with the flow of the operation. Did you talk to Mr. Barronette about that? Yes. Okay. What was the resolution of that conversation? Nothing. He was cool with it. Okay. Meaning he agreed not to sell under the same name? Yes. During that time period, so this is 2013, even though Mr. Barronette had his own shop, did he ever work in your shop? That was 2013. Right. Right after that for like a few days. Then after that, no. Did Mr. Barronette change the name of the heroin that he was selling? Yes. What did he change it to? At that time, I don't remember that name. But when he migrated to Curry and Riggs, the name of the shop was True Bomb. So he moved his shop to Curry and Riggs? Yes. Do you remember approximately what time frame that was? That was later. I can't. It was probably the beginning of the next year, which was early 14. Okay. And the name was, what did you say? True Bomb. Were you still going back and hanging out around that drug shop? Like, driving through, stopping, hanging out for small periods of time. Would you see who else was at the drug shop other than Mr. Barronette? Binky, Sean, Aunt. Okay, I'm going to show you up on the screen Government Exhibit P4. Do you recognize that individual? Yes. Who's that? Binky. Do you know what his role was at the drug shop? Not really. He just was with Tana. They was together. In this time period, 2013 and 2014, did you see Binky with Mr. Barronette? Yes. Once in a while? Often? Every day. When you were visiting this drug shop on Curry and Riggs, were you able to see how it was operating? Yes. How was it operating? Basic routine. One person standing on the corner directing the traffic towards the alley, and the other one running in and out of the alley hitting the people. Do you know where the drug stash was? In the alley. In the drug shop, do you sometimes have people advertising the drug being sold? Yes. And I think you mentioned that you sold Sweet Dreams in the past. Yes. What are some of the other brand names or brands that you've sold? Get Right, BMW, Tyson, Dynasty. At this drug shop at Curry and Riggs, do you recall whether there was any advertising of a specific brand? True Bomb. True Bomb. Okay. I'm going to show you Government's Exhibit P5. Do you recognize this individual? Yes. And who's that? Marty. Do you know if Marty was involved in drug trafficking? Yes. In this time period, was he involved in drug trafficking in 2013, 2014? Yes. Where was he involved in drug trafficking? Curry and Lafayette, Curry and Lanville. Was he working with Mr. Barronette or doing something else? Yes. He was working with Mr. Barronette? Yes. It was earlier than the Curry and Riggs. It was earlier than that. Oh, this was before Curry and Riggs. Yeah. It was after he left us. After Barronette left us. And what was his role in Mr. Barronette's drug shop? Like, hitter. Distributing the drugs? Yes. Showing you Government's Exhibit P8. Do you recognize this individual? Yes. Who's that? Brandon. Do you know if Brandon has a nickname? Ali. Do you know if Brandon was involved in drug trafficking? Like, apparently, he was locked up for like most of the time when I came home. So for like a little bit, he was dealing with us. But then he wound up leaving again. Do you know if he was working with Mr. Barronette at all? I'm not sure of that. How do you know Brandon? He lived on our block. And how about Marty? How did you know him? He lived on our block. And what about Binky? Went to school with him. We lived on the same block together. Showing you Government's Exhibit P9. Do you recognize this individual? Yes. Who's that? Man. Do you know Man-Man's real name? Brandon, I think. How do you know him? I went to school with his brother. Who's his brother? Meatball, Amos. Okay, I'm showing you Government's Exhibit P27. Do you recognize this individual? Yes. Who's that? Amos. And you say he had a nickname. What was it? Meatball. Do you know if Man and Meatball have any other family members? Yes. Who's that? Pop. Andrew. Showing you P26. Do you recognize this individual? Yes. Who's that? Pop. Andrew. Andrew is his real name? Yes. All right. I'm showing you one more photo here. This is P28. Do you recognize this individual? Yes. Who's that? They cousin Thug. Thug. Do you know Thug's real name? Tony, I think. Do you know whether Thug or Man was involved in drug trafficking at all? Yes. Okay. How were they involved in drug trafficking? Selling marijuana. Do you know if they ever worked with Mr. Barronette? Yes. Around what time period? 14. How do you know that they were working with Mr. Barronette? They owed him. I don't know for sure. Like, I know he was giving them something, some type of narcotic, because they owed him for it. How do you know that they owed him? Because Montana was complaining about it. To you? Yes. What did he say? He said they better have his money.